Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Ultimate Spider-Man. This is uh, 2012 to 2016. It's 4 seasons. It's an animated series. They're all run around 24 minutes each, and this is the most modern Spider-Man series as far as I know. So, uh, and this has heavy involvement um, from a lot of comics creators, Paul Dini and Brian Michael Bendis, especially. Uh, Bendis is the one who co-created Ultimate Spider-Man, the comics, the alternate reality version of a young Peter Parker, not the older married one, and that we have in the mainstream 616 Marvel comic book universe. Um, he created another reality in the comics, and this is sort of another version of that reality. Um, but and Paul Dini is no stranger to cartoon writing and everything else. So yeah, especially with DC, uh, this in comics, this is not just all about a lot of invested comic creators writing and consulting and contributing. This is also very much a star-studded event. This is a lot of big names are in this. Some that you would know from the MCU, also from the Spider-Man movies. J.K. Simmons comes back as J. Jonah Jameson, just as we saw in the second Spider-Man Far From Home. Drake Bell, by the way, plays Peter Parker. You might know him from Drake and Josh, uh, Disney animated, not animated, Disney series, original series. Um, Gosh, there's so many people in this. Nick Fury, not is not played by Samuel Jackson. It's played by Chi McBride. You know him from Pushing Daisies and gosh, a whole bunch of other stuff. I just saw him in Pushing Daisies. I rewatched that series recently. Um, we also get Agent Coulson in this. He sort of oversees certain things for Nick at Peter's school. He's the acting principal. Phil Coulson played by why can't I say his name? Yes, Clark Gregg from the Agents of Shield, and also the guy who died in the first Avengers movie. So yeah, so he's still getting to play that character in the proper MCU in the recently finished Marvel Agents of Shield, and also in this cartoon series. So it's the role that won't end. So that's good for him. Um, God, Steven Weber, it plays Norman Osborn. Of course, Norman Osborn's involved in this. There's no Green Goblin yet, but man, there's a lot of B-list villains right out of the gate on the first episode. We get the Wizard, we get Thundra. Uh, what was the other one? Oh, Trapster, and Claw. Now they may not be B back in the day, but technically they're B today. B level. Tara Strong plays Mary Jane Watson. I'm gonna go through a bunch of the different ones of these. Stan Lee, of course, makes an appearance as the school janitor, as a recurring little bit of a role here and there. Clancy Brown plays the Taskmaster. Mark Hamill plays Arnim Zola, which you recognize the character from the Captain America films. Phil Lamar plays Cloak. Ashley Eckstein, please say I'm saying that right. Ashley Eckstein, she's Ahsoka Tano. She plays Dagger. There's, by the way, I can't go through everybody in this list because it's every time you hear a voice, you're like, I know that actor. They're all over the place in this thing, and character wise, there's a really tricked out Doctor Strange with a really big cape in this. Captain America, the Hulk. There is also of course, Venom, which shows up in the fourth episode. Sort of Venom. Doctor Octopus is played by Tom Kenny, SpongeBob SquarePants, and he is hidden in the darkness for the first 4 episodes. I only watched 4 episodes, but you see tentacles, and he's working at the whims of Norman Osborn to create a super soldier army, which everybody seems to want to do, and it's a fairly tried and true premise because Captain America was so perfect, and everybody wants their own Captain America, but easily controlled. We have, of course, Iron Man. I'm pretty sure Thor shows up at one point. Again, if there's a major character in the Marvel Universe, I think you're going to see this. Spider-Man, though, gets pulled in by Nick Fury early on in the first episode and says, "Hey, look, I know who you are. I know what your thing is. You've been Spider-Man for about a year now. How about you train with us?" And Peter thinks it's going to be a solo gig regardless, but he finds out soon enough that he's being groomed to become part of a team, which includes White Tiger, Nova, and Power Man and Iron Fist. So yeah, but they're all teenagers. They're not grown-up Luke Cage and Danny Rand. They're all pretty much teenagers. They can go to high school with Peter to work for their cover and everything else. There's so many different levels to this. They work it out beautifully. The animation style, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking. It feels like a Deadpool type of story. The way it's written, the comedy keeps coming nonstop. It's not as crude as Deadpool would be, obviously, but it's Peter freeze framing and then talking to the audience while everything else is grayed out in the background. Every once in a while, they'll make references that to things you would know as a Marvel fan. So it has a very Teen Titans Go feel to it as well, because every once in a while, in order to express their emotions, there's sort of like a animated chibi style big-headed version of themselves. You get a devil and an angel on his shoulder, and they look like practically like Funko Pops, but less square. So yeah, it's you get a lot of that. So there's tons of familiar, rapid-paced, modern Western and Eastern mix animation styles thrown together here. You can't be left with the 90s style pacing that you would get back then. You have to keep it moving. So it's wonderfully done, and it's done by people who know and love the characters, who they're not bringing in, like some of the older series, sometimes you got the idea that they just hired writers who had just heard of Spider-Man, kind of like they did with the musical way back then, Turn Off the Dark. And they just brought in a woman who was good at doing musicals but had never read a Spider-Man comic or saw a movie or a cartoon or anything else, was completely unaware of the character. They gave her some resources. She looked at him and went, I'm going to do my thing. And it was, from people I know who've seen it pre-release and during the release. They went multiple times, and God, it was a horrid mess. And I think that's what we got a lot of the times with the old cartoons, as beloved as they are, especially the 1994 one, Spider-Man, as they are to many people. You get the idea that some of these people, they just went, okay, villain bad, he's going to cackle, he's going to hold Mary Jane hostage or try to take over the world, and Spider-Man's going to make a few jokes, thwip thwip, and it's over. But there's a lot more complexities to this. It's a lot more action, a lot more comedy, jokes, references. And again, this is at the point where the MCU has just been born and has really come alive. This came out 2012, right around the time the Avengers film came out. So they already knew they had a big hit with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and while this was in process, they knew what kind of level of audience they were dealing with. They weren't just dealing with 6-year-olds on a Saturday morning. They were dealing with people who knew the mythos of Spider-Man. Now, speaking of the mythos of Spider-Man, by the way, this is 4 seasons, and each of the seasons is 26 episodes each. There are most of the episodes are single one story and contained in one, but of course each of them builds upon a bigger backstory. But there are multi-episode arcs, including Spider-Verse. Before there was a Spider-Verse movie, there was an Into the Spider-Verse multi-episode arc in this series. So, yeah, I want to take a peek at some of these. By the way, Hydra. There's a Hydra one. Oh, and by the third episode, they already fight Doctor Doom. Yeah, they. And it's it's a. They're out of their league. Let's just say the heroes are out of their league against Spider-Man. Oh, sorry. Oh, Miles Morales does show up in this eventually, but you're gonna see villains like the Electro and the Lizard and everybody else that you know. Who plays? Oh, Diedrich Bader plays Kraven the Hunter. Oh, there's yeah, okay, Oh, the Inhumans are in this. Adrian Pasdar plays Iron Man. I'm gonna keep just throwing out names of actors you've probably never heard of, but I do. Yeah, we get. Oh, there's Throg, the Frog Thor in this. Wolverine shows up. There's a Wolverine team up. There's that funky Doctor Strange with greasy long hair, everything else. There's Juggernaut, the Beetle. Good grief, there's so much. Peter Porker. Um, yeah, there's so much in these. And by the way, if you're ever a fan of the Disney Infinity video game, and they made the figures and everything else, this is the artwork that a lot of that was based on. A lot of the characters. So you see right here is, well, no, not right here. But in a second ago, there was a Green Goblin that they made a figure of for. I'm pointing over there because that's where I have my Disney Infinity figures. I have all of those. So Nova and Spider-Man and Power Man and Iron Fist. Where is this? Oh, Carnage shows up too. Man Wolf even. Itsy Bitsy Spider-Man. Venom recurring. Oh, Blade. Man Thing. Okay, I realize I can go on for this forever, but I need to find the season 3 is. Oh, there's Rocket Raccoon. I want to get. Okay, the Spider-Verse. There we go. That shows in season 3. And oh, Contest of Champions in season 4. Hydra attacks in season 5. Sorry. Contest of Champions at the end of season 3. Hydra attacks at the beginning of season 4. The new Sinister Six in season 4. Symbiote Saga. So you've gotten all sorts of stuff in there. And there's going to be a return to the Spider-Verse in season 4 as well, which is very popular. I wonder why they made a movie. I will tell you that the animation in the movie is much better, but this is nothing to sneeze at. This is good stuff. There's Spider Slayers, so and Moon Knight's in there, and yeah. So I just had to go over that with you because there's a lot going on in this. So I'm gonna do it. I don't do this often, but I'm marking this off as a series that I am going to finish off at some point. It's 108 episodes. That's a pretty big commitment there. So yeah, it's to me it's great. It was actually, I was surprised at how much I liked it. Not a lot of the animated series, even though they hold a place in our heart and our childhood, our nostalgia, that chunk that sits in our hearts that desires nostalgia constantly. That's what nerds do. We love the things that we can consume, and we like to reconsume them as adults. This is surprisingly mature, but not adult at all. It's for kids, but it doesn't talk down to anybody, and it's got a a great rhythm, and it moves along and keeps your attention, and the characterization's on point. So I highly recommend it. Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney Plus. So for now, we're gonna try to pick tomorrow's episode without double tapping. Here we go.
154.
There we go. Let's see. What do we got for 154? Come on. Oh, okay. We got another one of those Nat Geo documentaries. We've done a drain before. They drained the Bermuda Triangle and drained the Titanic, I think. We have another drain. 154. We're going a little bit further up north of the United States. We're going to drain the Great Lakes. So if you ever wanted to find out what was going on with the Great Lakes, the bottom, I mean, here's your chance. Again, National Geographic. I think it's probably one episode, but that's what we'll check out next. Drain the Great Lakes on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.